Jonathan Young.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm very pleased to stand and speak on this debate on Budget 2013, a budget which keeps us on course in a consistent and a steady way. I recall the comments of the Chief Executive of Tatua Dairy, who said, sir, that consistent is good, predictability is even better. And I think that we have produced a budget which certainly the business community and consequently I think families and industry around this country can rely on. I think that's been par for the course under Bill English, our Finance Minister, who over these last number of years has enabled this country to be seen as a standout country amongst many economies around the world because of our solid track record and where we are going with this economy. We are right on track. We are delivering what we said we would. And I think that today is a very hard day for the opposition, having to throw up all sorts of objections and criticisms when we know that so many things are going right. And it's to do with the leadership and the vision and the stability and the safe pair of hands that we have in our Minister of Finance and as well as our Cabinet colleagues. We have the lowest mortgage rate since 1965. After tax wages have increased 22% since September 2008, and we know the cost of living increases have been their lowest since 1999. And this is good news for New Zealanders. And it's just not statistics and information coming out from the government benches, sir. This is what Statistics New Zealand say. Just over a month ago, they reported that grocery food prices for the year ending April 2013 decreased. Sir, that means went backwards, went down, became more affordable for New Zealanders, decreased in the last year. Fresh milk went down 7.4%. I can remember before the last election that in the Commerce Committee there was such a hue and cry for an inquiry on the price of milk because everybody thought it was out of control and that we were paying huge international prices. And we know just even this last week, sir, that Fonterra have announced a record payout for farmers, and yet we see in this last 12 months that the price of milk has come down. And that's, I think, the response of a good economy that is tracking along nicely. We also know that cheese went down 7.8%, butter down 23%, meat, poultry and fish down 6.7%. There were a couple of things that went up. Avocados went up 48%. So when you go to the shop to buy your avocados, sorry, because it was such a small production in 2012 compared to a bumper season in 2011. This is all good news for New Zealanders. This budget is sensible and it's solid. It's what New Zealanders want right now. We don't want big sweeping and novel ideas like capital gains taxes and wholesale electricity monopolies. We don't want all of that stuff that these people are throwing up there because they're desperate. They're trying everything they can to attract the attention of New Zealanders. It's voodoo politics, and they're hoodwinking people when we have got it right for 5 years now, getting it right all the time for New Zealanders. Labor believe that they can enhance competitive power pricing by becoming the monopolistic buyer of wholesale electricity in the country. Pull the other leg. Come on, we're wide awake to that. The only people who are doing that are people who are moving away from monopolistic purchasing into a market-driven economy. They know that, but they won't say it. It's a daft idea, and we do welcome all their daft ideas because it just goes to prove how solid and sensible this budget and this government are for the sake of all New Zealanders. You know, Colin Espiner, as I said in my last debate, no friend of the government calls this, this is third world funny money sort of stuff. New Zealand Herald referred to it a 1930s command economy solution. And we need to understand that we live in a society where when we get the balance right around competition, it brings through all the benefits of not only better innovation but better pricing for New Zealanders. And I think that this is what the government are doing in this budget. We are responsibly managing the government's books. We are building a more competitive and a productive economy. And we are delivering better public services. And we're doing a lot in the housing space. It's not pie in the sky stuff. It's steak on the plate while you wait. and that's so good. We are delivering better public services. We are rebuilding Christchurch. We are building the foundations for future success. We need to understand that this is something that we need to build into the economic DNA of this country. It takes time. It takes time to get things right because it took 9 whole years to get it wrong. We know that. We know what a stuff up they made of this economy, and we know the hard work that we have put in place, the hard thinking, the hard yards, and it's starting to pay off, sir. 3% economic growth this last year. Far above UK, America, Australia, different in the European Union, of course, are better than all those economies and all those nations that we look up to. They're looking up to us now, sir, because we've got it right, and this budget is doing a great job. We are increasing education investment. We're not just aiding people, we are enabling people. And there's a difference there, sir. There's something there which we are putting tools in the hands of people so that they can have choices, they can be predetermined in their life, because we are ensuring that they are getting education where it's really needed. We're pouring more and more money into early childhood education to ensure that those young kids are getting their first foot on the rung of education early on, so that they're not struggling and trying to climb up later on. We're putting more and more money and more emphasis, and we're putting more and more accountability on tertiary education. And this is so that our young people who go through it, not just young people, but all New Zealanders who go through these educational programs, have their first foot on the ladder of employment in a very successful way. They're coming out of our high schools with NCEA level 2 in far greater proportions and numbers. And we're seeing already this is shifting. Already, sir, we are seeing some great responses. We know all the criticism, the controversy that we've narrowed education, but we haven't, sir. We have a broad base on our education. But what we are getting right is the fundamentals. We're getting the foundation right so that people can go into tertiary with really good linguistic skills and abilities, and have very good numeric skills and abilities, because these are the foundations for future learning, and we've got to have that one right. We can't keep seeing our polytechs having to do level 1 and 2 courses. They need to be doing 3, 4, 5 and 6, sir, and we need to make sure that our secondary schools are getting all the fundamentals right, and they depend on the primary schools to get that right. And so we have this complete pathway of learning, and every single step in this pathway has to be strong and fit for purpose, and has to be achieving for our young people. We can't have one part of this system falling over, because it's like a domino effect. And we're getting it right, sir. We're putting the money where it really counts. We're investing into education. We're investing into innovation. We're investing into all these areas that in time to come, even as we see it now, progressively we'll see it more and more. We're seeing New Zealanders succeed. And this is incredibly important for this nation. We're just a small nation of 4.4 competing in a huge world market of talent. And we have got to maximise our talent. We are innovators, we are dreamers, we're thinkers, we're inventors. And when we have our education strong and robust, when we have less people needing government support and more people bringing resources to government and to their communities, what we're going to see is a nation with its head up. And we're going to see a nation that forges ahead, and we're going to see a nation, sir, that internationally, economically, educationally is going to continue to forge ahead, and we're going to take those high places of achievement, and we are going to earn it. And this budget is very much part of that long-term future for the future success of all New Zealanders. Thank you, sir.
Call the Honourable Marianne Street.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we discuss the budget that this government